In fact, I came in one night late after everybody had gone home. I think it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was beer dripping from my ceiling fans in the restaurants. It was an absolute wild party.
We're back with part 2 of our interview with Ron Duggan, where Ron talks about the event where he likes to be a tourist. He gives us all the details about the new Cannonball Run and why he thinks it may be the biggest event ever for Captain Ron's. We then shift to Ron's future plans. I ask him what advice he'd give to a new business at the lake, what he hopes for his legacy, and then I bring the rapid fire. Ron's personal lake favorites, the most famous people to patronize Captain Ron's, the event that Ron wishes would come back that also brought the wildest parties, and we even reminisce about the fight nights that include a famous figure skater. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy. I would argue that Captain Ron's probably had a lot to do with the growth of this side of the lake.
Some people didn't like me over here in our cove when we moved in because of our music and things. But all those people have moved, and the people that have bought knew we were here.
Know what they're here.
And they know what they're getting, and they love it. They come over here all the time, and they love the events that we have. And so, yeah, we've got a great neighborhood.
Awesome. What other new things are coming?
Really, the biggest event we have during the middle of the summer is Aquapalooza.
Yes.
That's a fantastic event. Benny Media puts that on, and they bring in the bands from noon to 5 that day. And it plays to the water, which is really cool. So people come by boat, and they park their boat in our slips, and they hang out in the water, and it is truly a great time. And that is one event my wife and I love to partake in.
Nice.
And so we're just like every other tourist, and we sit out in the water and listen to the bands and have our cocktails and have a great time.
That's July
19th.
And that's been going on for a long time. I mean, it's literally a concert on the water.
It is, yep. It started at Coconuts, I believe. Then it moved to Dog Days, and Dog Days had it for a number of years. And then I got a call from Water Patrol and asked me to host the event. Said Dog Days didn't want it anymore.
How long has it been here now?
I think this is year 5.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, and we just did a top 5 events in the summer, and Aquapalooza is on that list. So it's arguably one of the best events of the summer.
It really is. It's a lot of fun, and they have really good bands. In fact, I know one of the bands back was the last band last year, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, you got to have this band back."
Cool.
And so they did.
Made it happen.
Yeah.
Now that then probably leads us to the newest event at the Lake of the Ozarks. Tell us about it.
Cannonball Run.
That's right.
Actually, a friend of mine came to me with the idea. It's really pretty simple. It's like a poker run, except everybody just kind of does their own thing, but it doesn't have to be on the water. We've got lakefront restaurants that are involved, and you can go there, and it's all about how much money you spend and how many hands you're going to get. So you register, it's $250. You get a poker hand. For every $500 you spend that whole week, you get another poker hand. If you go to one of our sponsors' location and spend money there, you get credit for double the amount you spent. So that's what we're encouraging people to go to our sponsors. But you'll come in on Friday, bring your receipts in, and depending on how many hands you get to draw, you can draw up to 20 hands, and you could win $25,000, winner take all on Friday. And then on Saturday, you can't bring the same receipts, but if you bring another batch of receipts in, you can win another $25,000 on Saturday. So we're gonna give 50 grand away.
Wow.
And we're excited about that, but there's so much more to the event than just that.
Yeah.
We've got a sandcastle building contest and a scavenger hunt and a paddle board races, and we're gonna have a car show going on at the same time. We've got an event up at the International Speedway on Thursday that's gonna kind of kick things off. You can go up there and race your car.
Cool.
I'm really excited about that. My wife and I went up there last weekend and got to see up close the Ferrari event they had going on, and I'm telling you what, it's a cool deal.
Yeah.
And to have a chance to race your car up there, it's pretty cool. So I'm excited to be partnered with those guys. But we're going to have some kind of an air event. We're not sure exactly what that looks like yet. We're still working on it.
Nice.
A lot of things to do that weekend. You know, there's already going to be 100,000 people down.
Probably more than that. Yep.
And so, you know, there's a lot of people that have said, "Hey, we're going to be on the west side. What are you going to have going on? Are you going to have the shootout races on TV?" Well, of course I'm going to have the shootout races on, but we're going to have a ton of stuff going on. We've got bands all weekend long, different kind of events all weekend. So we're excited about that Thursday through Sunday, and we've got a huge giveaway we're going to give on Sunday, and we're working on that right now. But I think it's going to be a no-cost deal, and we're going to raffle away a very nice item. So
Fantastic. So you can win a ton of cash Friday and Saturday, and you don't have to do anything to potentially win on Sunday.
absolutely.
And you're going to have vendors set up as well, correct?
We are. We're going to have a vendor village. There'll be a lot of activity down here. We've got a fireworks display on Friday night that's going to happen.
Cool.
And then, we're excited about giving that big cash prize away.
Yeah. You talked about all the things, what's happened in recent year. There's a lot of changes. We talked about all the things that are now happening here. What do you think the future looks like? Where will you be in 2-3 years?
Well, hopefully just, watching over events and not having to go to work every day. I enjoy going to work, and that's probably a bad thing for me, and my family's used to me working all the time. I'm kind of gearing some people at my title company to take over so that I, just can go to work 3 days a week. But I love events and things like that are happening down here. And this place is a lot of fun, and we have a lot of different things. And so I like to be able to go to those and enjoy them like everybody else. Yeah. And so really that's kind of my goal. I've got 4 granddaughters that I enjoy being around, and you never know, maybe I'll coach a couple of them one of these days, and if their dad doesn't want to, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's kind of where I see myself in about 2 or 3 years,
Yeah, awesome. You are obviously, again, a legend as an entrepreneur at the Lake of the Ozarks. If you were to give advice to a young future entrepreneur that wants to start a business at the Lake of the Ozarks, what advice would you give them?
Have about 3 years worth of cash in your bank account to weather the storm.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and it's not so much now as it used to be. But when I started, the locals really wanted to see you make it through a winter first before they would buy into what you're doing. Yeah. And we have so many people that move into the area, it's crazy, but that's the way it was. And so if you made it through the first winter and you were still here next summer, then they'll start sending you some business and kind of weather the storm a little bit. People think they can come in and just immediately make an impact and make a living and enjoy the Lake of the Ozarks. Well, we don't get out on the water much. We don't get to enjoy it. We do a little bit in the spring and the fall when things slow down. Yeah. But our busy time, obviously, here is in the summer. Yeah. And at the title company, it's the same way. Yeah. So we try to travel a little bit in the off season if we can. Of course, when we had kids in school, that was kind of hard too. But and I was coaching basketball, so that made it even harder. Yeah. But now we're going to have the opportunity. My daughter's graduating this year, so we'll have the opportunity to maybe do some things in the off season.
Awesome. You said weather the storm.
Yeah.
This almost feels like it's shootout weekend.
Right.
Never fails.
Never fails. Easter weekend and shootout weekend.
That's right.
Never fails.
That's right. Last question. When people talk about Ron Duggan years from now, what do you hope they say about you?
Honestly, I just hope that they know that I care about people. Relationships for me are everything. And I've built so many relationships, not only with my title company, but also through events, and especially the shootout. People that I would normally never see, but I see them once a year. We rekindle those relationships. Yeah. I want people to know that I made an impact in this community. I guess that's my legacy, that I had an impact on some of these charitable organizations and people that aren't quite as fortunate as others. I've given back a lot to the community, and I hope people know that, understand that.
That's awesome. So we're going to wrap this up with some rapid fire, just fun questions. Okay. You're down for that.
All right.
All right. First question, should be an easy one, I would think. Maybe not. What is your favorite food item at Captain Ron's?
Grouper dinner, the blackened grouper dinner.
Why should somebody order that? Like, what makes it so good?
I'm a steak and potatoes kind of guy, but I'm telling you what, it is a light fish, and it is absolutely fantastic. I love the spice of the blackened. I think they call it Caribbean style now, but just an absolutely wonderful fish.
What do you pair that with? Maybe not that dish, but if you said you can only order one drink here at Captain Ron's, what are you ordering?
Yeah, I'm a beer drinker. Boulevard Wheat is kind of my go-to drink, or a Flight, or even a Bud Light. Those are kind of my go-to beers, and I'm not a hard drinking person. I'll tell you what, though, we have amazing, what they call, our pain in the ass drink. Yeah. It's actually really, really good. And I do enjoy sitting on the beach and drinking a frozen drink. Yeah. That is probably my go-to. Yeah.
And you guys have a lot of those machines pumping all summer long. So
we do.
Never a shortage.
That's for sure. And there better never be a shortage.
Yeah, we agree. Who would you say is the biggest celebrity, or maybe somebody that you were actually a little bit in awe of, that came and patronized Captain Ron's?
I missed Garth Brooks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unfortunately, we got a call after he had left. But it was funny because they came in and his handlers cased the place first. Then he came in, I guess. And so we missed that. The Chiefs coach years ago came in.
Not Andy Reid?
No, the young coach. For the life of me, I can't remember his name. But he came in and actually got to visit with him a little bit. And I was trying to tell all my employees to stay away. Don't bother them when they come in. And they're really good about that.
Yeah.
Let them enjoy their time. But I'm the one that went up and talked to him. You know, there was another baseball player that came in and actually gave us tickets.
Cool.
I'm like, hey, we're going to go to Cleveland and watch you guys play. And he's like, here, sit with all the wives. And so.
Was it Royals or Cardinals?
Royals.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big Royals fan.
Got it. Yep.
In fact, when we first came down and opened the place, our distributor had came in and put up all the neon signs, and they were all Cardinals. And I walked in, I'm like, oh, no. Take all those down, put Royal stuff up.
I'm a St. Louisan, so but I think it's we never really been a big rivalry.
Oh, no.
Other than '85, I guess.
Right. There was a Game 7 if everybody forgets about that.
That's right. That was a hell of a series. What would you say is the wildest story that's ever happened here?
Got to be Brostock. Brostock was a wakeboarding event.
I remember that.
It was an absolute blast. I would love it if it would come back. But it was pretty dicey. In fact, I would have to put the word out there that this is the one non-family friendly event of the year. Beware if you bring your kids.
Why?
It was a young crowd and they had a blast. In fact, I came in one night late after everybody had gone home. I think it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was beer dripping from my ceiling fans in the restaurants. It was an absolute wild party.
Wow.
But it was fun. I mean, we had a blast, and truly, I would love for it to come back.
Yeah. If you were told that you could only host one event every year, what event would that be?
Well, obviously the shootout is near and dear to our heart.
Let's throw the shootout.
But we're going to throw that out. I think this Cannonball Run event has got the makings of being even bigger. I think we're going to do twice what we did for the shootout in the first year, and we just haven't even started yet.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer, and it's easy, and people they don't have to do anything special. They don't have to go anywhere special. I think it has the makings of being something fantastic, and I believe that we can give a ton of money away.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited about that. The one event that I love partaking in right now is Aquapalooza.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of really good events over the years. We've had wrestling tournaments out here. I'll tell you another event I forgot about. We set up a ring in our parking lot. We had a boxing match, and then we had an MMA event.
Wow.
Which, do you remember the Nancy Kerrigan
Yeah.
ordeal
Yeah.
and the gal that she was here for that
That's
event?
right. She was a fighter after.
Yeah,
after
she
ice
was.
skating.
I had dinner with her. Super nice lady.
Tanya Harding.
That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a really cool. Both of those events was really neat. The parking lot sets up like an amphitheater, so we had a ring out there, and we had all these chairs. We had VIP seating in here with dinner, and it was a blast.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Last question. Do you know what is the most drinks you've ever served in one day?
I have no idea, but I can tell you that we had a concert here, and we had a local artist who had kind of made it big, and it's still playing today. He was a drummer, and actually I coached his brother in basketball years and years ago. But he brought his band in. That big tiki bar, in an hour and a half did over $10,000 in sales.
Holy cow.
So I don't know how many drinks that was, but it was probably about, at least 1,000. But
Oh gosh, yeah, and that's just out of that one bar.
just out of that one bar.
Yeah, wow.
Or I guess that would be more like 10,000 drinks.
Possibly. Well, it depends what the price of the drink is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't giving them away.
I imagine. Well, Ron, this has been spectacular, man. I mean, I'm excited for all the things that are coming that are coming back. I mean, I think I can speak for the west side of the lake to say when I first saw the news that Captain Ron's was selling, I was a little disappointed. Not only is that not necessarily on the near-term horizon, but to know that if you do sell it, you want to keep the same culture here.
Yeah.
I think that's good to know. As a dad to various age kids, they've all loved coming here, and so it's really great to hear that this place is going to be here for a long time.
And we have a ton of kids that have worked for us in the beginning that are bringing their families back now and hanging out, and it's fun to watch them grow. They start off as a busser or cleaning up trash or whatever, and then they graduate all the way to a server or bartender, and then they go off and get their careers and some of them get to come back in the summers and work for us, and others just move on, but then they bring their families back.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see how they grow, and my wife keeps in touch with all of them.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything that you've done here at the lake and will continue to do, and I'm glad that we got the opportunity to share your story.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Who would you like to see us interview next? The Lake of the Ozarks has a long list of influential people, and we aim to sit down with all of them. Thanks again for tuning in, and we don't often ask favors, but when you love our content, please share it with others who love the lake as much as you do. And as always, do not forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.